Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is Vintage Story, Unearthed, for 120. This is an interesting ruin. Oh, there's water down here. If I walk around with these torches in hand, I'm going to lose the torch. So I need to be careful where I walk, and that it's not in any of the too deep of water areas. What chest? The shirt as well. Oh, this is fantastic. I could probably take this back with me. So a lot of the things in ruins, if you break them, they will end up basically being useless. You can repair them by default if you use some glue. I don't have any on me, and I'm currently already over my inventory amount that I can actually carry. So I won't be repairing anything today. You can take things that don't have that kind of notification. If you notice over here at the top middle, it says may shatter if broken, can be repaired using glue, 0% repaired. This, on the other hand, does not. So I could feasibly break these aged logs, some of which may be chiseled. As you can see here, they've already been chiseled with some missing bits. You could bring those back to base if you wanted to, but I'm not really too bothered with that at the moment. I'm just looking around for any easy-to-carry loot, and I might still have some more laying around in here. Oh, there's a whole bunch of firewood. Would you look at that? There's an extra cooking pot. I will take that as well. That's fantastic. Everything else seems to be kind of not quite as useful, but still I'm pretty happy with the few things that I have found. Oh, and it looks like there's another way down. Okay, so if I do enter into the water, I just need to be very cautious about where I land. I don't want to sneak into the water, or else the torches go out that I have in my hand. So let me actually break this. See if I can put a torch in there, and then when I sneak, I don't lose the torches to the water that I had previously. Oh boy. Oh my gosh, there's so many goodies down here. I picked up some spider webs by accident. Let me grab this. I've got an extra storage vessel, 2 extra storage vessels. Didn't even have to make any, I just found some. I'm so fortunate here. Oh, but I also hear mobs nearby, so I'm going to need to make this a quick trip. Let's break these, toss them in my temporary inventory storage on the side, just by picking them up and putting them over here. I'm making sure not to hit the escape key, and now I have just about everything I could use. I even got some parsnip seeds out of it, and a bunch of metal scraps, which can be really useful as well. Loot is fantastic, and at the moment, I think I'm going to actually have a little bit of nibble of one of these berries, just so that I don't end up taking damage from hunger as well on my way out the door. Let's get rid of this spider web again. Oh, that's not good. There's a bowtorn right at the entrance, and it just shot, so I should take the run while I can and try and escape. And hopefully I don't get hit on the way out. Okay, whew. Right, I'm back at my base area, and you can see I've got all sorts of stuff ready to pick up, but I think I'm going to leave it there for a moment. I am desperate to eat some food here, and I also have some extra materials to drop off. So let's take this cooking pot, and I'm going to make something really weak here, but it's going to be a quadruple of lobster. And you'll notice each one of these is 80 saturation when eaten separately. This is one way of increasing the saturation that you could potentially get, is by making a meal. Now there's tons of options for how you can best do this. I will demonstrate that momentarily, but for this exact moment I'm just going to get this cooking. So not to bring up too many menus, but if you go into here and you look up meal making, specifically under guides, and you can even type in meal, and you can see here there's a meal making guide. This is going to give you the basics on how you can craft things. Meat stews, vegetable stews, porridges. Now there's certain limitations you can do. There's soup, scrambled eggs, jam, and so on. And some of them can be really, really nice. Other ones can just be, well, a little bit better than their other counterparts, if eaten individually. So I think at this point I could probably go so far as to put down a chest. Oh, and I can start putting a bunch of stuff in there. Let me close this fire pit for the moment. Put all these in here. Yes, I do want to use the storage vessels differently. It's just I'm a little pressed at the moment, and I want to make sure that I have things squared away properly. Let's take this pot of cooked food out of here for the moment. I can put in some of these raw bushmeats and get them cooking up as well. Now, raw bushmeat you can't actually make into a meal, so you're just going to have to deal with that fact. There are certain game balance efforts. There's big differences between what you can and cannot do in the game. Let me put these in here as well. And I need to go and see if I can find one specific item in all of these drops over here. And that is going to be my bowls. There they are. I've got 4 of them. I only need 1 right now, but I might as well grab all 4, because why not? But with this, I can take your pot of cooked food. You can actually set it on the ground. Previously, you would then have to right-click on it with a bowl. You can still do that, but I'm going to show you a new interesting mechanic in 120, and that is where you can take one of your bowls and you can just left-click, and you can take it that way. You don't actually even have to put the cooking pot down, and then you can eat it. So keep in mind, previously this was going to be 80 saturation each, times 4 would have been 320 saturation, or satiety. In this case, it's 480 because you made it into a meal. So that's the benefits of meals in this case. Now when I eat this, it fills up my hunger bar a lot further than it normally would have otherwise. Can everything be made into a meal? Not really. There are a lot of limitations on that, but the fact that you can actually do this is just fantastic, and it really makes things a lot easier and go a lot farther so that you don't need to worry quite so much about it. So I now have a cooking pot that I just finished making over there, plus one that I just got from loot. You might think, well, now I've got one too many. I'm not going to need that many of them. Oh, trust me, you're going to need more than one, because if you want to make candles in the new 120 version, you need a cooking pot, and it will end up making it dirty, as well as a few other functions, like if you're making glue to restore some of those ruins. It will make the pot dirty as well, and you're not going to be able to eat out of it. So now I have one that I can use for industrial purposes, as well as one that I can eat out of, which is quite nice. And as for the this torch holder here, I think I'm just going to plunk it there for the moment. This is like my temporary pile of stuff. I don't really have a base to start with. I think I'm going to be working on that very shortly once I get a little bit more food squared away. But this torch will no longer go out while it's in a torch holder, whether it be aged or otherwise. So this can really be nice to just add some aesthetics as well as a permanent light source. Even though you can't take it with you, it's still really, really nice to have that option at this point. So you're not always in the dark or fighting the elements to keep things lit. So by putting these berries in here, if you look at the top here, it says, like up at the top here, it says stored food perish speed 0.77%, or times 0.77. But these berries say that they're good for 5 days. So let's put them in my inventory. And now they're good for 4 days. This is the benefits of putting things into a storage container. Now, storage vessel is going to be a little bit different still. Putting that down, you see that the food perish speed is even reduced even further for all things, as well as vegetables and grain is going to be even better. So let's grab these cranberries, and I will put some in here, here, and here. And now you see 4 days, 5 days, 5 days. But it may have rounded, because with it not being a vegetable or a grain, it's going to be the same as if it was in this crate. But there are other foods that you can put in here that will then benefit, like well, vegetables and grains specifically. On top of that, you can take it a step further. You can actually bury the item. Now if I break this and it goes into here, you'll see that it says 5 days. Let's bury this into the ground, creating some kind of cellar, and it now says 7 days. So it's going to store even better while it is currently kind of encapsulated like this. Now that may vary depending upon the space that this is in. You can make small rooms out of it. If you make the room too large, then these aren't going to keep very well at all, and you might struggle with that. If it's not enclosed in proper materials like solid dirt, stone, or other materials of a similar nature, then it will be too drafty and not really give you the benefits as well. So you will have to have some kind of solid block around it. Now you can use things like trapdoors and doors, even hay bales. Those are really easy to get through and work nicely to seal things in place with a quick access. But sometimes they may have a slightly reduced efficiency than if you were to fully seal it in place with something like soil or a stone or whatnot. Still, I did find going this direction a little bit lumpy, and I think what I'm going to do is aim over a little bit more east and southeast so that I can maybe find a little bit easier of terrain to traverse and maybe even find some more food over there. Oh, that's right, I ended up getting a few seeds. I should plant those quick. It's just a couple parsnips, but in the end that may end up growing out to be something much higher. Now you notice the moisture level is at 75%. If you want to speed things up, make sure that you get the biggest crop quantities that you can. Then you're going to want to make sure that you keep it watered and hydrated, as well as its nutrient levels high enough. I'm going to take a right click with my watering can, and then I can pour it on here and watch the moisture levels go up to 100% rather quickly. And just like that, we now have fully hydrated crops. Then that should last, for the most part, about 24 hours, give or take. And if it does rain in the area, then that will automatically hydrate the ground as well, and you don't need to worry about it. Okay, I found the bear. It was just chasing some rabbits, and it seems to have just fallen asleep on the job, which is fine. That's going to be an ongoing thing, is trying to avoid this bear, but also trying to find my own food supplies in the process. Oh, that's a lot of animals. Oh, they all seem to be headed in the direction that the bear is. I don't like this. Oh, here we go. Puffball mushrooms. Something that I can catch a little bit easier. Also, chickens! Okay, now we're talking. Usually I like to try and trap these, but I think in this case I'm desperate enough. I need to get some food. There's a point right there, is that if you do attack the hens before you attack the cockerel, then often the cockerel will just come at you and make things a little bit easier to try and get at least 2 of them in the process of trying to get them. Alright, feathers. This will be really important later on. Of course, the poultry will be more important closer. But you can use those to make some more effective arrows in the future, which I may end up needing to do, because I'm finding that my accuracy as a clockmaker with throwing spears is really poor. And here we go, an example of me making a bone knife, which is going to be a little bit more durable. Doesn't do more damage or anything, but it will at least last a little longer. Looks like there's a nice ruin over here. You can actually loot these quite well. Often excavating around this area may end up unveiling more important things, like bony soil, which you can then pan for better loot. In this case, a farming vessel might have... Ooh, looks like we've got a bunch of flax twine. That was a nice find. Another thing, we have fish. And you can just easily stab them with a spear underwater is usually the easiest way to go. You can use other methods, but I find spear fishing from above is a little bit more challenging, if only because of the fact that the water will reflect the spear when thrown at it. And there we go, I've got a little bit of raw fish. But sometimes you won't get anything off of these guys. They're just too small for that. Now, if you are desperate, you can easily just take the raw fish and eat it. It's just good 100 saturation as is. But otherwise, you can cook it, and it now gives you more saturation when cooked. Previously, it was actually the opposite, where you got more saturation from it basically just kind of being raw. As luck would have it, just after getting another chicken, I found some more copper, which is going to be something I will definitely need to start looking for very shortly. And thankfully, I left myself a little bit of cooked bushmeat here. I have some more that I could probably pop in there, though it will require a little bit of firewood to get that going. What I might do is cook up some firewood and then make myself a meal with the poultry and some of the other items that I currently have. Alright, there we go. Cooked bushmeat. That's great. I can just keep that with the other ones. Let's put this in here, and I can start making myself a bit more of a meal. By adding a couple of poultry items, I can then do poultry stew. By adding in some vegetable, I can then do puffball. Now, I would need 2 minimum. I'm following the formula in there. And this is actually going to be really, really good. So we're going to have 2 servings of poultry stew with boiled puffball and cranberries. So it's basically meat, vegetable, and fruit all in one. Sadly, you do have to have 2 meat for this to actually work, and they all have to be of the same type. I can't really mix and match the like the raw fish, like one of those and one of this. That doesn't really work. I might be able to take this and this together in its own bowl and make that, but I think at this point I'm just going to store these for a little bit longer. 9 days, 4 days, 4 days. All right. And this is all the vessel contents that are under here. For those that are wondering, I'm using Immersive mouse mode that allows me to have the inventory open above the item that it is, instead of having those at the side of the screen like my regular inventory panel. And there we go, pot of cooked food. And you can see here it's got a really lovely looking little pixelated animation for it. What I might do here is take one of these bowls and scoop it out when I'm ready. But first, I think, looking at the time, it is now just past midnight, so with this being a bed that will allow me to sleep up to 7 hours, probably be around 7 in the morning by the time I'm done, or at least let's hope so. We'll find out here in just a moment. And there we go, it is now, well, actually it's nearly 8 o'clock, so I think I might have overslept a little bit, but still, that is fine. I'm alright with this. These things are still going to keep. My hunger meter actually didn't drop. I'm pretty happy about that. But I was able to have this bowl with meal that I can eat. The protein and vegetable and fruit saturation combination is going to basically fill this up without much problem at all. And I will have enough to scoop yet another. Now in this case I can mix and match these, provided that they are of the same type of thing. They're basically a meat source. And by adding cranberry it works. It's just you can't put them both in the same slot. So I have to make a whole new meal in this case. And I think I could... Do I have any peat over here? Yeah, let's take some of this peat. Insert that into the fire, which of course has gone cold overnight. But I will just relight that and make myself another meal that can just sit here. Or I can put it in the pot in my ground storage, which will make it last even longer. And I can carry this around with me. I can even carry the pot around with me and use it to eat from. But I usually find crocks are better for that, in my personal opinion. Now, I do have several more bowls, and there's a reason for that. One is because, well, now I can keep food in these, and I can keep my this pot clear. Just by right-clicking, I now have 2 of these. I've got one that gives me 750 plus 90 satiety, and then I've got one that gives me 750 plus 120 plus 90 satiety, which is absolutely fantastic. I can also store those, but I think this lump of fat is actually being saved for one specific purpose, and that, my friends, is an absolute wonder, and that is improved light. It doesn't mean that it gives me more light, it just means that I can go in the water without it going out. Watch this. See, I still have it. It still gives me a light source, light level 11. This one here is a bit brighter, but if I were to roll over to it right now, it would end up going out. And I'd have to relight it off of either another torch or burning it into a fire like I had before. You can also place them down. You can put them on the sides of blocks as well. Let's see, I can put it over here and so on. So it's very placeable, just like a torch is, and is going to be my go-to until I end up making an even better light source in that of a lantern. So I think I'm going to take this and make a little something for myself here, if I can actually remember the recipe. Yeah, there we go. As a straw hat, it's pretty handy because it actually gives you a little bit of insulation for colder temperatures. But more importantly, it just looks amazing. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that for certain. But I need to head back out and get more food. I don't really have much to work with at the moment. I can't really grow much. I've planted a few more seeds over there that I found in one of some of the loot, but I'm still going to need to find more. And I think I'm going to need to leave this biome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head up into this area where I saw some flax and some other stuff before, including a bear. But maybe I can find a little bit more in the seeds department so that I can get more things growing as quickly as possible. Well, this is fortuitous. There's a whole bunch of copper deposits here. So I also realized that I neglected to make a specific item with pit kilns back at base, so I will need to do that at some point. And that is a crucible so that I can actually melt copper and make it. But I am going to need this stuff. Now that I've just basically made some of it, let's grab a bunch. This is actually really nice that I'm able to find this. So I'm going to take one more of these and set it down there. Just so that I've got this little marker of where the center point was besides my map marker. But still, I am looking for seeds specifically first. And, oh, I think I've just found some. As well as perhaps a little bit more flint. I now realize that I need all the flint I could possibly get with the new version of this stuff. Oh, there's an old spear of mine. Ah, it's like I've been here before. Anyway, I've got some turnips, but it's very unlikely I'll get much, if anything, being growth stage 3. But, oh, there we go. At least I got one of them. And that bug where things currently kind of sink into the ground should be fixed in the next version. I'm currently on 120.4 at the moment. But I'm just going to keep looking around for more seeds, see what else I can find before I head back to make that crucible. Oh, and as luck would have it, let me clear this away. You can see we have here resin. This is actually a really welcome sign, and something that you should mark on your map as soon as possible. I usually just use an orange pine tree, and that always tells me that that's going to be a resin tree, because resin is always going to be on either pine or acacia, what I call acacia here because it is good and I like it. But this means that I can start making some wooden armor at least. Here, I think we've got a little bit of some of the pelts back at base and some firewood. I might be able to make myself a hat so that I'm less likely to get one shot in the head by different attacking enemies. But that's for when I get back to base again. Oh my gosh! Oh, it's the bear! It's the bear! Time to run! Okay, what the heck? I gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Whew! Okay, I don't know how I was able to evade that bear. I mean, it was right in my face. But I'll take that. That was a fortunate escape, I should say. So I need to be very cautious. I mean, I've got the death marker here for a reason, because there's a bear, and I forgot to basically recognize that that's a thing. So yeah, this is where I've died before. Anyway, I'm gonna keep looking, but maybe not quite so close to that side of the coastline. That's the bear's coastline. Ah, finally. Some flax that I can plant, which is great. 6. That's not going to be good enough. I need it 7 or higher for it to actually do any good. Ugh, so rude. But at least I got some other stuff here. And would you look at this? There's a fruit tree right in front of me as well. And yes, I'm using my inventory as a temporary storage for the grain items, because I can still use those in a cooking pot, and I could just straight up eat them as well. But actually, in fact, what I should probably do is eat some of the foods I currently have, like all these this bushmeat, so that I can then put some of this back on the hotbar and not have quite so much hanging out there. But we've got a pink apple tree here as well, so that means I've got a couple that I might be able to get some limbs from in the future. So I think what I was trying to say before, when a bear suddenly appeared and started attempting to maul me, was that well, that's just a pig, okay. Is that I need as much flint as possible, because if I don't have fire clay nearby, which I don't think I do, I'm not seeing bauxite anywhere nearby, I will need to make my own fire clay, and flint is going to be needed for that. I already have almost a full stack of that, which is going to be quite helpful in the end. But for now, I think I might start heading back. I've got some seeds. I've got five seeds so far, 2 flax, 2 rye, and a turnip. Now, rye is actually really good for colder climates, but really poor when you're getting into a warmer area. So I think I'm going to head back, plant these, and then maybe I'll head back out in the morning or something. Okay, I almost ran into a bunch of wolves. Yeah. So I'm going to back up, then I'm going to mark it so that I know that it's a problem area. And put wolves. And because I am not equipped to fight 2 wolves, I mean, I have enough spears to take out 1 wolf, maybe. I think I'm going to have to go around them. Oh, is that the bear? Yes. Okay. This is interesting. Hopefully I'll see you back at home. Alright, well, I am back home again, so now I'm just going to plant these extra seeds that I got while I was out. I did survive. I did not die yet. I do realize that I made a mistake, though. Setting this watering can here is bad. Animals can climb up on top of it and then go over the fence that way. So I need to set this down more like here so that it's not quite so easy. In fact, I might want to water these things before I have a snooze as well. Now this time, instead of letting my hunger get all the way down, I'm actually going to do this on purpose, where if my hunger goes down further, that just means that I'm going to gain more hit points from getting more nutrition by eating more food. That, and I have some ingredients that I can also start cooking in this while it's still hot. Oh my gosh, okay, was not expecting that. That totally startled me. Yeah, I just had a shiver get right in my face. And there's a drifter over there. Oh gosh, okay, they're all coming in. What is this? It's medium rift activity. There must be a rift nearby. Back off, please. Go away. Oh geez, and of course there's a bowtorn nearby, which killed me last time. Let's see if I can... Oh gosh, I'm surrounded. Ooh, this is not good. Okay. Here I am just trying to make some food. And bad things are happening all over the place. Okay, that one's dead. Got drifters coming at me. Oh jeez. I don't know where it's at. It's somewhere over there. But I might be able to rush it. That... First, let me take out this little drifter guy first. Yeah. Alright, he's not dead. Oh, I can see the rift. There it is. Right there. Okay. I heard it. Alright, it's taking shots. There it is! These guys are just scaredy cats when you get too close. They may attack you back, but it's usually only if you're really, really close to them. Oh, okay. And they don't have any drops for me. Of course not. Of course not. At least I somehow barely survived that. So this is another good reason to actually have a lot of food going on before you go to bed, because it can do a lot of healing for you as well. And let's switch this up and take you out. There we go. Okay. So I know I'm really close to the rift, but this is where I killed this surface shiver. Ah, and got some flax from it. That maxed out my hunger, and now when I go to sleep, hopefully I don't get attacked. We'll see about that. I don't see anything nearby, so wish me luck. We're going to watch this way to see if any of these baddies come towards me from that rift. Nope, looks like the rift expired. Thank goodness. And with that, I am now here in the morning. My hunger went down, and you probably noticed that my health also went back up. So that was kind of just a really nice thing to know about, is that the more, the fuller you are, the quicker you heal. But also if you go to bed, that just kind of speeds up the entire process. So now I can eat what I've got there, grab another serving, and I think I might even have enough that I can make yet another meal. Oh, there we go. Alright, so I did plant the rest of the stuff. The farm is actually starting to fill in a little bit, but as I said, I still need to make a crucible so that I can start processing some of this these nuggets that I ended up getting. So if you notice, 20 pieces smelt into 1 copper ingot. I still need 17 more for the absolute minimum of what you need to start with. Oof. Okay, so let's look up a crucible. You can make multiples if you desire. At this point, I'm just going to make the one. And with that, I think we'll pause and end it here for this episode. Tune in next time for the continuation of Vintage Story Unearthed for 120.